Hello, hello, sweet honeybees, and welcome to the Electric Honey Pot, where energy is the nectar of life. My name is Autumn, and this whole project is about the human experience. The good, the bad, the ugly, and all of the magic that happens in between. Today, I am sitting down with my very good friend, Beau, and we're going to talk a little bit about his family history and how he is overcoming generational trauma and generational curses. And I want to get your story because I feel like your story is extremely powerful, and I understand that you're nervous about this conversation.
Very.
I also have anxiety. I am a beginner at this as well, but the thing is, as human beings, none of us are perfect, and we shouldn't expect each other to be perfect. And I feel like stories like yours are meant to be told because it is a testament to the fact that no matter what our family is like, where we come from, what our past is, we are capable of change. And the more of us that embrace our mistakes and how it has allowed us to open our hearts to growth, and we share without shame and guilt, I feel like it would push more people to that point where they may be willing to have these conversations too and hold themselves accountable for mistakes that they may have made in the past. And I say without shame and guilt because we can't shame and guilt our way into a better world. Mm-hmm. That's part of what has contributed to the world that we're in right now. It's part of what is contributing to people ending their lives, substance abuse. And real healing starts with conversations. So if you would not mind sharing a little bit about your family's background.
Yeah, so the McGriff family originated from Scotland, and it was John McGriff, I'm pretty sure, sailed over here with his two sons, and they each had, like, I would say 50 slaves each, 50 to 100 slaves each, and, like, that's what they kind of built their family legacy on. There's a lot of crime in my family history, a lot of inbreeding, a lot of fucked up things in my family bloodline. Slavery is one of them. And so when slavery was abolished, when the South lost the war and my family lost their slaves, they lost everything. So the McGriff family went from being this really, enriched, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Privileged. Yeah. Very privileged family to having everything taken from them because they didn't adapt to the changing times. And so that is why my family bloodline is really racist. Like, I'm like one of the first people, the first generations to cut this off. I know that, like, my cousin Cameron is also doing the same, and hopefully my cousins Tyler and, like, all of them, they're doing the same thing. But, like, at least with me in my bloodline, like, on my side of the family, that's stopping with me, along with a lot of other things.
So what has helped you realize that the generational racism that's been taking place within your family was a problem? Like, what woke you up to that?
I can't really point to anything specific. I mean, obviously, like 5 years ago, roughly, I had my first acid trip, and that woke me up to a lot of uncomfortable truths that I hadn't noticed, like, just growing up, being indoctrinated into the belief system that I was. Like, my first acid trip really opened up my eyes, and, I learned about what, like, systemic racism was, and, like, generational, like, racism, and, like, just everything that has to do with race in general. Yeah. Is, like, I learned over, I'd say, the first 3 years after my acid trip. And, like, it's interesting because us as humans created race as an idea to separate us.
Yeah.
When like in reality, there's nothing that separates us from any other living creature on this planet.
It's very true. Would you mind telling us a little bit about what that acid trip was like? I mean, I've already heard it, but if you wouldn't mind sharing.
It was, I can't think of a time in my life where I had been more happy yet more scared in my life. It started off being like, it's not something I can put into words. It was a beautiful experience that I'd say about 3 hours in really turned south. Like once my friend John came over, we packed a bowl, smoked, and he put on Rick and Morty for me because he had to go back to work. But like about halfway through the Pickle Rick episode, if I felt like I was dying, and
in a way, you were dying.
There was something about me that died that night. I haven't been the same since. It scared the family.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that. Like I told my dad that I did acid, and he was just like, "Don't get used to that." And I was like looking back at that now, I was like, "Does he know like what acid does? Probably not. Like, not to the fullest extent, but all he knows." All he knows is that his son did acid 5 years ago, and now he's a radical leftist. My son's a fucking commie.
So you were conservative prior?
That's an understatement. Like,
conservative Christian.
I'm pretty sure I still have a MAGA hat somewhere.
Oh, Lord.
Probably out in the garage somewhere. Like, I was going to burn it once Donald Trump lost the election, but he didn't, so I forgot about it. But it's around here somewhere.
Maybe you should burn it anyway, because it's like symbolic of cutting the cord with that.
I should. See, I didn't know if I should wait for something profound to happen, like his death. His death would be a perfect time to, like, I would burn it and post it on Facebook, but I feel like that would be petty. I feel like it should just be kind of like a personal thing for me.
Yeah.
Because I literally had a picture, I had a portrait of Donald Trump.
So definitely like idol worship. Cult vibes.
Huge cult. I was a fucking weirdo, man. Like, Donald Trump came to Nashville, and I like got into a full-on argument with my boss because he wouldn't let me off work to go to the rally.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I had my own AR-15. I had, which I'm not against gun ownership, but you know, I shouldn't have been able to acquire an AR-15 as easily as I did. Like, it was so easy.
What was the process of getting it, if you don't mind? In Tennessee, right?
So, actually, my dad was the one that bought it. All he did was hand him his ID, made sure that he was at least 18. Like, that's all. That's the requirements. 21 is the age to own a handgun, but at 18, you can buy AR, shotguns, fucking semi-auto M16s.
Gotcha. And did he walk in and have it like same day?
Yeah. Yeah, there was no waiting process.
State of Tennessee, right?
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, the background checks that they do, they're really quick. They don't do like extensive. Like, it's not even just a background check. Like, you have to check on people's mental states before they end up doing a crime, you know?
Right, which they don't do.
Like, there should be a long vetting process, like
100%. I agree with that.
Like a year, 2 years. Like, let's see how you perform in society before we hand you this tool.
Showing consistency, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, was your acid trip also what helped pull you away from the whole super Christian ideology as well?
Yes. So, not the first acid trip, but like for the months following that, I tripped pretty regularly, which it didn't have the same effect on me as the first one did. So
it never does.
I learned that like the longer you go before you trip again, the harder it's going to hit you. But I would say after like my second or third acid, I would say my second acid trip was when I went over to my friend's house. Her and her boyfriend were kind of trip sitting me, and she was the one that introduced the idea that, you know, religion is a cult. And it never made sense to me. I always I always just shrugged that off before because people have been telling me that for years before I found acid. But like in that moment, it clicked. I'm like, holy fuck! It literally is a cult when you get down to the whole brick and mortar of it.
Right. I mean, why do we even need to put labels on whatever it is? Yeah.
Like that's personal.
Yeah, exactly. God is a very personal, individual relationship that is different for everybody. And religion, it all comes from the same place, just told from differing perspectives. But then we treat it as ultimate truth when there's truth and deceit in everything. Two things can be right at the same time just as much as two things can be wrong at the same time. Yeah. I really need to start writing down questions. We just had this long drawn out conversation prior.
We did.
I kind of want to go back to that, talking about how you've been drinking. Like you have improved with your rate of drinking, but we kind of got into how your drinking is kind of tied to the fact that you are waiting on an apology from your dad.
That's part of it. Like I there's obviously other things that are tied into it. It's escapism one way or the other. But yeah, I went from being like a bottle and a half of whiskey a month drinker down to like my first bottle of whiskey was that other night with my friend.
Yeah.
And like
that didn't turn out well.
That did not turn out well. No. I don't think I want to go into that on this video.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
But yeah, like it just, alcohol has become less and less appealing to me. I've smoked weed a lot less too, but like I've been smoking more recently.
Right.
Just because I feel like I'm not drinking as much.
Why do you think you turn to substances beyond just waiting for forgiveness that honestly may or may not ever come?
Just regret in general. People that won't talk to me because I hurt them, and it's not easy to approach someone that you've hurt in the past and be like, hey, look at me, I've changed. It's kind of like put the idea out there, and if they come to you, they will. But there's some people that won't even engage with me anymore because of things that I did, in high school or maybe a little after high school.
Right.
It's like, you can't expect everyone to want you in their life and forgive you. Like, forgiveness has to come from within you.
Forgiveness is for yourself. So other people's projections of you based on the person you were in the past, if you have changed as a person and you've grown and you can recognize that you made mistakes, you hold yourself accountable, and you evolve from the mistakes that you made, then is it really worth hurting yourself over?
No. I don't know if it's still like completely and total like escapism, or if it's habit that I've built up, because like, I drink as a social thing too. Like, it's always I get on the game with the boys and we crack a beer after every game.
That's kind of ingrained into our society because they make money off of us doing that.
Yeah. Cracking a beer with the bros. That's nostalgic. So like there's a little bit of that aspect to it as well. It's not all pain. It's just, I just want to drink.
Gotcha. And then, since this is just kind of a hot topic going on right now, I want to talk about it.
I'm scared.
So don't be. We were literally just talking about this. So we were talking about gender norms and how I have honestly been having all of these ideas flowing through my head regarding like transgenderism and where it may even come from, which I have tons of other ideas. I will link an article that I wrote in the description down below. If you are interested in reading my article, I kind of go into like spiritual concepts regarding transgenderism and how I believe it may potentially even be physical evidence of human evolution taking place. But for the sake of this conversation, we were talking about labels and how, you know, from early childhood, we are placing human interests into all of these perfect little categorized boxes and having all of these expectations, like telling little boys that may be interested in makeup that it's not okay to be interested in makeup because you're a boy, which then might create these seeds of doubt within them because is there something wrong with me because I'm into this thing?
And like for me last year when I had someone paint my toenails and my fingernails for me, and I actually felt good about it. Like they painted my toenails like kind of like a light bluish color. Then the second time they painted them black. My fingernails both times were black. He's like, I liked them, but then like when I got around my family, they were just they would give me a look. They're like, oh Lord, what has happened to my son? And I'm like, oh sorry, I won't do that again.
Right. So you make yourself small and kind of lose an aspect of yourself, something that makes you feel good due to the projections and the labels of others. When nail polish doesn't have a gender, it's literally...
it's expression.
Yeah.
And like that's what I was touching on earlier, is that like growing up as a kid a lot, like there were a lot of things that I was into that like would be seen as, you know, gay, or, you know, that's what girls do. Like, and like, I don't know, that they like, it wasn't even just my dad. It was everyone that attached labels to certain things. I was always that kid that was kind of open with everything, but I had certain beliefs instilled in me. So then eventually over time, like because of the fucked up beliefs that I had versus how I acted, it felt like I was living two different lives. So
Right.
I leaned it heavily into the toxic masculine side. I wanted to get approval from my dad. I wanted to seem more manly.
Right.
Like men don't cry. Men think logically, not with their emotions. Which we all know that's how that is.
Right.
But
that just comes from men that are incapable of actually being men and feeling their emotions.
well, I just find it funny that they say that men think logically and not emotionally. That's not true. Every fucking war in recorded history has been started by a man. So
Right. And it's usually in retaliation, or they get an emotional connection to things that don't really matter in a lot of cases, like power and money. Men have a tendency to believe that having power means having power over others, where true power is empowering others.
and anger is the leading force in that, and anger is really just fear in fight or flight mode.
Yeah,
And
100%. And, you know, I'm kind of at this point in my own development where I'm kind of tired of people telling me it's not okay to be angry, because
it's normal.
anger has a place. It's a part of grief. But the whole point of anger is learning to use it in constructive ways. I mean, think of Pele, the volcano goddess in Hawaiian mythology. She quite literally creates or destroys so that she can create. You know, think of a volcano erupting. It's this explosive force, but it creates land. You know, it becomes something new. It's done so with purpose. And so the whole thing with anger is about placing it into constructive outlets and utilizing it in the appropriate ways towards the appropriate targets, and not for self-benefit to harm others.
And also anger towards a specific target doesn't mean acting on the anger towards those targets.
Right.
I understood that like what I went through for the last 3 months, that anger was directed at someone, but I internalized it, which I
Right.
probably shouldn't have, but
I think we all do at some point in time.
and that anger was gonna happen, and I didn't want to project it onto that person anymore. So I just kind of stayed angry and distanced myself from them. So
What have you done to release anger in a healthy way?
that's a good question. I did start talking to a new therapist recently because my last therapist, things didn't work out with him. And so like I have someone that I'm able to tell that story to and just kind of talk through it with. And also like my buds around me too. Like they weren't even just validating my emotions. Like one of my friends, like that is kind of what friends are for, but at the same time he was also being realistic about everything. And so like he was holding me accountable, and all my frustrations I just kind of told him about. And like I don't feel like I don't feel like I lost myself in all the anger, and
Good.
that's one thing that's different from me now compared to how I used to be. I used to let the anger consume me until eventually I acted out on it, and then I would just make shit worse.
Right. Because fighting fire with fire never makes anything better.
Yeah, you still gonna get burned.
Yeah. In fact, the fire's going to grow until everything burns down.
Right. So just learn to, I don't know, I do need to figure out some outlet, but I've learned to not project that anger out and act on it.
Right.
Just kind of, I guess it just goes away on its own. I don't know.
I mean, things can get lighter with time, but we need outlets for emotions like that because they can become stagnant within our bodies.
I have been going to the gym recently.
Yeah, that's a great outlet.
And like this kind of falls into like the toxic masculine side of society, but like I do enjoy going to football games, like the screaming and like letting out that energy at games, like where noise is like encouraged and welcomed.
So I was kind of talking about this when we had this conversation the other day. It's the same concept as a music festival. Like there's camaraderie, there's this community, and then we're all these energetic beings. So when you're at an event like that where there's this large group of people coming together for one cause, you are literally acting
like
as
family.
You're a collective. Like you are one being in that moment of time. You can feel each other's energy, and that's why it gets so exciting. People get loud, they're moving. Yeah.
The orange cauldron just boils up noise every Saturday, baby.
Yeah, I experience the same thing with music festivals. It's why I like them so much.
That's why I fell in love with Bonnaroo. And you even say that Bonnaroo is like such a lame way to
I'm kind of a snob.
But I mean, fuck Live Nation. Live Nation, if you're watching, fuck you.
Live Nation sucks, but Bonnaroo is just very clearly this corporate nightmare compared to other festivals, and
For sure.
they really do not do a lot for their patrons compared to other music festivals. I mean, if Electric Forest is a whole experience. I told you I would go to Electric Forest no matter who is playing. Like, I understand it's also kind of a corporate nightmare these days, but there's art. The venue's really good. There's these interactive installations, the scavenger hunt, like the stages are really well thought out. There's even like a pipe organ in the middle of the forest that people can just go sit at and play.
Hell yeah.
And put on their own little performance. You know, Bonnaroo has a community too, but what makes the magic of Bonnaroo relies solely on the community building that magic, whereas other festivals like Electric Forest, for instance, the community builds the magic, but the festival also pours a lot into the community as well.
Well, the artists at Bonnaroo also pour a lot into it
Yeah,
too. Like
and
Parcels put on a hell of a performance that year. I can't stop talking about them.
your favorite band.
Them some fine men right there.
I'm going to check them out at Halloween, which, by the way, if you want to go to a music festival, shameless plug right now. If you want to go to Halloween over Halloween weekend, use code Electric Honey. You can currently get $40 off your ticket, which is really good for a discount for a music festival.
That's a lot of dollars.
And it's 4 days. There's a beautiful river that you can swim in that looks like you're swimming in black tea because there's so many tannins. You can wear costumes, and it's just a bunch of friends getting together and having some fun. Something else that I would like to talk about. Tell me about your grandmother, the hummingbirds.
Okay, so my grandmother, after everything that I had been kind of going through this summer, to top it all off, 2 days after my birthday, my mama passed away. At I think it was 5:15 in the morning. And just to kind of walk y'all through the day, like it actually was kind of crazy how it all happened, because it started off with me waking up for no rhyme or reason. Like my alarm didn't go off until 6. It was like 4:30 and I had to go to the bathroom. My phone was dead, so I plugged it in, and after I got out of the bathroom and came in, I saw my phone was turning on. And as soon as my phone turned on, my dad called me, and it's like I knew and I answered the phone, and then sure enough, my mama had died. And I find it strange that I never wake up early. If anything, I'm late to school most of the time. But that particular day, I woke up an hour and a half before my alarm was supposed to go off to that news.
Your soul knew.
Yeah. Or Memo came and woke my ass up.
My mom visited me in my dreams the night that she was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand what it was when it happened, but now with time, like I understand what it was. You said that you have been, I just love having conversations like this. You said that you have been experiencing synchronicities that remind you of her presence.
Yes. So when she would talk about what happens after you die, she said that if reincarnation is real, she wants to come back as a hummingbird so she can eat all the sugar she wants and shit on the people she don't like. And which is such a memo thing to say. And so like the hummingbird was always just the thing that, like, my mom was the one that told me that. And then I asked Memo, I was like, so why a hummingbird? And then she told me that same reason. I'm like, yeah. But after I went back to work, that next week after she had died, and I saw a hummingbird right outside of one of my customers' houses in their garden. And I thought it was so strange because I was like, I haven't seen a hummingbird probably since I was at Mema's house last.
Yeah.
And so then, like, later on in the route, there was a hummingbird that was following my van for like 3 stops. It would go up in the trees and just like go around to each person's yard. I love the way they fly.
Yeah.
And but the morning after she died, my dad looked up at the cameras on the property, and there was a hummingbird that the camera caught. And
they move fast.
They do move fast. But it's crazy because you watch them, they'll like come here and they'll hover, and then over here hover.
Kind of like dragonflies.
It's like, I feel like most birds kind of fall in style, like Buzz Lightyear says. Yeah. But like hummingbirds, no, they actually fly. Like they're actually like hovering. Birds aren't real.
Yeah. They're government surveillance drones.
Yeah.
So the hummingbird in many South American spiritual beliefs, particularly the Mayans, they believed that whenever warriors died for greater causes beyond themselves, that they would be reincarnated as hummingbirds. So hummingbirds are seen as warrior spirits. And then the hummingbird in certain medicine wheels is also the highest point on the medicine wheel. It's the highest point you can get in like your healing spiritual evolution. Something interesting about the synchronicity of the hummingbird. Today, when I went to my poetry event, there were hummingbirds all around the building. And that was after I had messaged you asking, like I messaged you right before I got there, if we could have this conversation today. And then there's hummingbirds all around the building.
They want shit on you?
No.
Okay,
no, they did. No, they did not. And then just a little side note on a hummingbird story, because I didn't tell you this little part about my Muddy Roots trip.
Real quick, can I show them my
yeah,
tattoo that
absolutely.
I got? So for my memo, I got this tattoo of her birth flower, which is a water lily, and then the hummingbird over it.
And the funny thing about that is I actually have a buffalo drum. It's the drum that I use for my shamanic drumming. And he showed me this tattoo design before he even got it. And I was like, no way, that looks like my drum. And I showed him my drum, and it's literally a hummingbird and what looks like a water lily on it. And then it's got a mushroom on it, psychedelics, healing. And then it's got a crystal. But Muddy Roots, though, I didn't tell you this story. I think you'll enjoy it. I swam out to the waterfall. First, I got a nice massage by the waterfall. I set some intentions, kissed some stones, and then threw them into a well right by the waterfall. I swam back through the pool, got an incense, swam through it again so I could climb the cliffs and meditate on the top with the incense. When I came down the cliffs and I was like gathering my stuff to go to the other waterfall, this man beside me, I overhear him talking to his friends about how his tattoo says warrior. I take a look at it and I asked him if it was Sanskrit, and he's like, I honestly don't know what kind of language it is. I was just told it says warrior. So as far as we know, the tattoo says warrior.
It said like shit bag or something on it.
But before I left the waterfalls to head back to the venue, I saw a hummingbird. And then I get back to my camp. There is a hummingbird in the clouds, like a giant hummingbird. And I tell my friends that, and this was like the morning after we had our conversation on the phone, I think. And I see this hummingbird in the clouds, and I just casually tell my friends about, their warrior spirits. And as I'm walking back to my car after that comment, I'm like, wait a minute. That guy said his tattoo said warrior, and then I saw a hummingbird right before I left. So it's just all the little synchronicities with the hummingbirds showing up. And
you're good with the synchronicities. Like you look at the time, or you look at things and you see angel numbers. Like I just looked at the time 1 minute ago and I saw a 6 and a 9. That's about my that's my luck.
We started having the conversation earlier about the alcohol and 444. Forgiveness, and I looked up at the TV and I was like 444, and you're like, no way.
Yeah, and when I pointed out the time before that, it was 420. So no. I see 42069. You see angel numbers.
Priorities. You're focused on substances. I'm focused on my spirituality. No shame in that, but if you want to communicate with the universe, you have to take your path seriously. You have to put effort into yourself. Like you're worthy as you are, but in my opinion, my perspective, my personal experiences with my own journey, like you dull who you're meant to be through
when you do substances.
Well, everything in moderation. Like we pick our poisons, right? I mean, I've literally gained like 20 pounds in the last 10 months because I've been emotionally eating. That is also a form of addiction and escapism and coping. Yeah. But the whole point is to learn how to shed that and become less reliant on things like that because it does cause harm to us.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a bigger problem if we are heavily relying on something outside of ourselves to bring us comfort, joy, and happiness and confidence.
My dad's best friend lost his wife to liver cancer because they drank themselves into a hole. Now he don't drink as much. But.
I mean, annually there's about 300,000 deaths contributed to alcohol consumption.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild because it's literally legal. It's like you're like pot's not legal, but a substance that literally contributes to hundreds of thousands of deaths a year.
Not just deaths, but also imprisonment. But that's
victim, like creating victims of abuse.
Yeah.
Like
it's one of the biggest problems within human society as a whole. Alcohol is the gateway drug. They try to tell us that it's things like weed. They have psychedelics, a healing medicine that opens our minds to greater perspectives, is a Schedule 1 substance with great potential of abuse and no medicinal use.
Which is such bullshit.
But alcohol is legal. And the reason why that is because they keep us under their control by dumbing us down. They keep us under their control by us constantly wanting to escape. That's why they promote it to us. They make money off of us buying it. They make money from us getting sick from it. They make money from us going to jail or prison because of the things we do while we're on it. They make money off of the chaos that it causes. And that's why it's legal. That's why it's so heavily pushed, and that's why it's normalized in our society.
It's crazy because LSD being a Schedule 1 narcotic, like it literally got me off of cocaine. So
psychedelics also helped me cut cocaine.
It didn't get me off cocaine, but it definitely it showed me the path I was down, and I didn't like it.
It didn't get me off of it either, but it helped me get to a point mentally where I was able to come off of it.
It puts a boot in your ass for sure.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't show you what you want to see. It shows you what you need to see at the point that you're at.
And then you still have the choice to listen to it.
Right. The integration period.
And I remember for like, I'd say a good 3 years after my first acid trip, I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to live my life in ways that I feel like are good at this point, because like, I don't want to experience that again.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing with psychedelics, you know, bad trips are a thing. Like, don't get me wrong, you can most definitely have terrifying trips, but what seems bad in the moment might actually be the greatest lesson for you. Like,
which is exactly why I say there are no bad trips. You have you have uncomfortable trips, sure, but like in the end, I do feel like it's for the greater good. Like, there are no bad trips.
100%.
Unless like something like death happens to you. Like,
yeah. Which
very
death
rare.
isn't the end.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, the thing is, psychedelic substances are actually some of the safest substances on the planet that you can use when it comes to things such as death. And now, also, like, depending on the substance. Like, if we're talking about something like Datura, that has a higher likelihood of causing death. So
I don't know what Datura is.
I think Datura is called like the devil's trumpet or something like that. It's more of a psychedelic that's kind of like salvia. You know, a lot of people do not have pleasant experiences on it. It's kind of a different ballpark, in my opinion, from something like LSD, mushrooms, DMT even. But like LSD, you would have to take a ridiculously high dose of it for it to be fatal. And I don't even think it's possible to consume the dose that you would need to take for it to be fatal.
Oh yeah, no.
Break your brain, maybe.
I had a friend who claimed that the most that he did was 100 hits of acid in one night, and I was like, I'll have to see that to believe it, because like that's a lot of fucking acid, bro.
And I mean,
not everyone joins the 10 strip.
If you have a really high tolerance, that also doesn't really mean anything because it is something you can build up a tolerance to if you're doing it too often. I mean, I used to take 10 strips, but taking a 10 strip for me at certain points in my life was only like maybe taking 2 hits for someone else that's not used to doing it.
Yeah, because like I'm pretty sure you said that the tabs that I did were double dipped were like 350 to 450 UG, somewhere around there, and I took 2 of them, and you said that was a heroic dose.
It's pretty close. Yeah.
So it fucked
I mean, because
me up.
I think a heroic dose is anywhere over 500 or 600.
I was well over that.
It may be 1,000, but
Okay.
I don't remember. But it is a high. That is a high dose. I mean, people have extremely profound experiences on 100. You know.
Yeah. So yeah, my first acid experience at night alone in my apartment was probably anywhere between 850 to 900 UGs.
Which I would not recommend. If you have never used a psychedelic substance before, I definitely would not recommend doing it by yourself. You should be responsible and have a trip sitter and someone who is experienced with these medicines to do it with you or to look after you as a sober.
Who cares if the water is cold? Jump on in, like go skinny dipping in the I did.
Are you stealing from my poem, or did that actually happen?
Actually just flowed?
Yeah. I read you a poem I wrote earlier today talking about take the cold plunge.
And I must have missed that part.
Oh my god.
Whoops.
No, it's okay. Is there anything that you would like to add or talk about that you think would be impactful or beneficial for anyone else who is on a healing and self-discovery journey?
Be kind to yourself, especially your younger self, because like we all like what's the average age of brain development?
So our prefrontal cortex, our frontal lobe is not like fully developed until our mid-20s, typically around age 25. So technically our brains are still developing and maturing emotionally, and when it comes to like judgment calls and foresight, all of that great stuff.
The ability to understand the consequences of your actions.
Yes, exactly.
Like it's that's not excusing any behavior, but like it's most definitely like if you want to be a different person, be kind to yourself and understand that like you were young, you were learning, you only knew what you were taught, and as long as you have a pulse, there is always a chance to turn your life around. There's always, you always have the opportunity to make it right. And that's like, I know this is probably like a big thing that like, it is a big thing, but I'm sure everyone's tired of hearing about it. But like Charlie Kirk yesterday or the other day, as bad of a person that I thought he was, at the end of the day, he had his opportunity to grow as a person taken from him. And
he's still a human being.
2 days before he was shot, I'm pretty sure he mentioned something about like questioning if the media has been truthful with us about Israel. And then he was wanting the Epstein files released. Like,
I literally wanted to bring that up because, call me a conspiracy theorist, I personally feel it's really convenient, the timing of his death. And, we have that Irina Zarukska or something like that.
the Ukrainian.
Yeah, who was stabbed to death in Charlotte.
They're blaming black people for that too.
Yeah, the media is spinning that as a race war, which I want to tell you guys, if you really think that it is a black versus white problem. You have been manipulated by the media and the corporations that own the media and the government. It is not, this isn't, we only take our broken system seriously whenever they are trying to race bait us or divide us through politics. And we act like this is only happening to beautiful white women. Meanwhile, my mom is a murder victim herself, and the police have not taken that case seriously. They have not investigated any of the suspicious circumstances and behaviors surrounding her death. There was a very large inheritance that was stolen through what I believe is a forged signature. I have a video where I talk about this on my channel, and then I have another video called Things They Don't Want You to Know, where I go into a little more detail about the evidence that I have. But my mom was murdered in the state of New Mexico, one of the most violent states in the United States. They have a murder clearance rate of less than 40% over the last 30 years. And a large percentage of those victims are Indigenous women. Where is the outrage? I am also in this murder victim support group in the state of Tennessee. And there was a woman in there who, her father was murdered when she was a little girl, and he was missing for 11 years before they even found out that he was murdered. I mean, they suspected he was because he was missing, but he had been murdered by a white couple, a white man and a white woman, and 11 years later, the woman confesses. They find his body in a creek. He had been wrapped in a tarp with cinder blocks tied to him. And this creek bed dries out during the summer, but apparently he went unnoticed for 11 years. He had an intact cigarette pack in his shirt pocket. So the daughter believes that the body was stashed somewhere else and brought to the creek right before the confession. The white woman was let off without any kind of consequences. She was given immunity because she confessed after hiding this crime for 11 years. And the man that murdered him, he was this prominent white man with connections to government officials and law enforcement who had money. So he only served a couple of years in jail. And he didn't even have to pay any kind of restitution because the court systems made the family choose between a couple of years in jail or restitution. This man recently died. He died a free man after everything that happened. But here, they want you to be upset about what happened to that Ukrainian woman. And yes, it's a tragedy. It shouldn't have happened. I'm very sorry that she is dead. But it is happening everywhere, and it's not just happening to white people. And they are just trying to divide us and make us believe that our fellow human beings, our fellow average people are the problem and our enemies when they aren't.
I'm pretty sure Trump, I read somewhere that Trump was trying to pass legislation of banning trans people to own guns. And it's like, the person who shot Charlie Kirk wasn't even trans. What is this in response to?
Right. And he was raised by conservatives.
Man,
he comes from a conservative family. Like he most definitely does not have conservative beliefs, but he was raised in a conservative family. And me personally, I was also raised in a conservative family. You were raised in a conservative family. We've witnessed what it is like in those kinds of households and the treatment and the behavior
from two different perspectives.
Because, your experience was vastly different than mine, but there is a lot of judgment and there is a lot of really negative views of other human beings. Like, I also grew up with racism and kind of indoctrinated into my family. I grew up hearing things like races shouldn't mix and you better not be dating that black boy to my sister and stuff like that. And they're one of the good ones. But
they're one of the, that's, oh man, he's one of the good ones. It's like, growing up now and I'm here now, I'm like, what is that? What does that mean? Because it made sense to me before, but now I truly don't understand. But I think, and also one thing that my dad told me whenever I was a kid, he straight up said this on when we were I'm pretty sure we were watching like some kids show, and like there was a mixed couple like kissing. He looked at me and my sister, and he was like, "Y'all know that it's not okay, right?" And then there was like that. There was one time where he actually told me that I would be more okay with Courtney getting a girlfriend than I would you getting a boyfriend. And I was like, at the time I was just like, well, you don't have to worry about that. But like exploring my sexuality further, I'm like, well, why? Why is it different?
And hatred is a learned trait, but at some point you reach a time in your life where you're an adult, you are capable of thinking for yourself. And if you should still be held responsible for the hatred that you perpetuate, but responding to hatred with more hatred is never going to create a better world. We can't hate our way into a better world, and we can't control our way into a better world. We shouldn't be hating other human beings just for the things that they believe or how they want to live their life if they're not hurting another person. I may disagree with the things that people do in their lives and the way that they live their lives, but at the end of the day, that is not my fucking life to live. It's not my responsibility, and it's really none of my business. I can have an opinion, but I can't control what another person does. And that's part of why the world is the way it is because we all think we have the right to control another person's life. And then we dehumanize them for having a life that we don't agree with, when we're all the same. We're all human beings, but we were never meant to be the exact same person. Our differences is what makes us beautiful as human beings. It's not a bad thing. They just want you to believe it's a bad thing because they stay in power through division. They make money through war.
And the cycle repeats itself.
Yeah. So, sorry for tangents.
Yeah, I mean that's what this show's all about. It's the human experience, right? This is part of the ugly.
It's just also relevant right now, and that's one reason why I wanted to talk to you, because I was just like, people. There is a lot of hatred that comes out of the conservative community, but the left side celebrating violence that is supposed to go against everything that they stand for.
That comes from a place of hurt.
It does. Hurt people hurt others. But that's how conservatives are as well. Like, they are also people that are carrying trauma. So they project it out onto other people.
Yeah.
And they've been brainwashed.
Yeah,
and
I just feel like
liberals have been brainwashed too. It's not a red versus blue problem. It's a love versus hate issue.
Well, I just think like in its whole, like in its entirety, conservative ideology has always been brewed from hatred, like, which I mean might have been a result of trauma or pain at one point or another, but it's like, you can have the most well intentions, but like if you're brainwashed to only extend those good intentions to people like you, your race, your religion, or like whatever the case is, like,
are you actually a good person if you're only good to people that are like you?
Mm-hmm. That's something I had to learn the hard way. Like, you take a look at the majority of my friends growing up, it was mostly white men.
Right.
And if I did have a friend, or if I did have a friend that was female that I was close to, I was always hitting on her.
Right.
And so was every other dude in the group, just about.
Right.
So.
Because that's what women are for. I mean, that's just the ideology that they have, and which is so messed up. Women are people, and
I'm gonna go turn that light on.
Men and women should be capable of having friendships without any kind of sexual relationship having to be involved.
And that's exactly why I ended up losing one of my friends, or actually I ended up losing a friend group of mine, because this friend that I had helped get out of a marriage back late 2023, her and I became like this. Like we were friends, and when she met the guy that she's with now, he said that he wouldn't come between our friendship. But then, fast forward to around the time that, you know, I was going through my last like breakup, and I was going through that stuff with my grandmother. I was always hitting up my friends, which were both happened to be women. I wasn't hitting on them. I wasn't flirting with them. They were just my friends. But this guy, he kind of proved me right. He ended up getting in between me and my friend, and now we're all no longer friends anymore. And so, like, I feel like that's the toxic cycle that we all fall
It's
back
a projection of his own insecurities
Yeah.
and inability to trust another person.
It's like you're intimidated of me because because your projection or the image that you're painting of me is how you would act if you had a friend with a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like,
People project their own thoughts and behaviors onto other people.
so,
But then they call you the weird one.
well, and that they actually had me feeling like it for a second. I was like, man, maybe I should like find some more dude bros, you know?
And
like,
see, and then this is you also said that you feel more comfortable talking to women, and
100%.
that goes back to like the toxic masculinity thing, like don't cry, you have to be strong.
With how I was raised with my dad, like I always felt like I had to shrink myself. There was an instance in high school where I experienced sexual assault, but I didn't address it. Like it was one of those, like, what did you call them? Opportunistic
Yeah.
things. And I just kind of let it slide until years later when I realized, no, I was sexually assaulted. And
Right.
that's why I was not comfortable around him.
And then as a man, you're you know, it's shameful to talk about those things. And in certain situations, like you're a man, it's impossible for you to be assaulted.
To be a man that has a sexual assault experience of another man, it's kind of like, it feels, and I don't like this word because it's a concept that we made up, but it does feel demasculating in a sense. It's like, you know, I feel like I can't defend myself. I can't like fend for myself. I can't even speak up when someone sexually assaults me.
Right. Well,
Right.
you know, even female survivors of sexual assault feel things like that. Like I have felt things like that. You know, it's someone else forcing their hurt onto you, and then you just kind of internalize it, and you blame yourself, you guilt yourself, you shame yourself for it, and you're the one feeling like you bear the burden of responsibility for something that another person did.
And not only with those instances, but like, you know, I did try to have a friend that was a man that was like, I was really close to. I opened up to a lot, was really vulnerable, and I introduced him to one of my friends that, like, her and I dated in high school, but it wasn't even like that serious of a relationship. Like, I introduced them, they ended up getting together, and this guy viewed me as, like, you know, the second coming of Jesus Christ. Like, he was my homie for a while, and then eventually, I guess because of the same reasons that my last friend did, he got insecure and ended up using my vulnerabilities to put a wedge between me and my friend. And so her and I talk occasionally. Like, I haven't talked to her in like over 6 months at this point, but like you can tell, like, our dynamic has completely changed because we were tight. And
Yeah.
like literally for one day, for no reason, this was before I even introduced him to her, her and I went to the fucking beach, like, and we took a day trip down to the beach for no reason, and then drove back, and like it was such a good time. And like all it took was just one toxic relationship, and all that was gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sad, but it's life. It doesn't have to be, though.
Yeah. It doesn't. And it starts with accountability. And that's the reason why I want to have conversations where we talk about difficult subjects and people are capable of admitting when they've been wrong or talking about things that they've lived through and how it affected them, because that is a part of accountability. Acknowledgement is the first step to taking accountability. And then,
well, now this kind of inflated my ego, because at first I was like, I'm too scared to talk about all this on camera, and then I did, and I'm like, all right.
no, this has been great. Doesn't it kind of feel like a weight is lifted off of you? Like
another thing that I'll put out there, like one of like even more than homophobia, more than racism, Islamophobia was a huge part of my past.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't get on the school bus because like I rode the school bus, and there were 2 Muslims that rode our bus, and every day I was scared that they were going to blow the school bus up. And like the way that I profiled them is like I looked at them as like way beneath Christians and Jews, and it's like it's funny how like 3 years after I learned what empathy is when Israel attacks Palestine, attacks the Gaza Strip, the genocide starts to ramp up. And it's like it's kind of a cruel joke. The universe that plays on us. It's like, yeah, you get what you wish for. And then like
they say, be careful what you wish for. And then that's the thing, whatever we put our energy on is also what we create. So if we are focusing our energy on division and hatred and violence, all that's going to do is breed more division, hatred, and violence into the world. The only way that we can work through the collective trauma that we have as a species and work towards building a better world
breaking the cycle.
Yeah, exactly. Communication.
Accountability.
Forgiveness. And forgiveness does not mean that there are not consequences. And on an individual level, we were talking about this earlier too, forgiveness does not mean letting people back into your life that have hurt you, especially when there has not been like proven consistent change in behaviors. But forgiveness is for ourselves, because when we learn how to forgive those that have caused harm to us, and even those that have caused harm in the world, you know, that makes us lighter on an individual level. It makes our hearts more open and receptive to love, instead of shackling ourselves to anger and fear, which is the driving force of all suffering.
And to touch on what you said about like forgiveness doesn't mean letting people back in. Like I've fully accepted that there are people in my past that I have hurt that are never going to let me back in. And I at that point, like I have to forgive myself, because like, you know, that the last 5 years I've been on this crusade against my former self, against my childhood self, to try to prove myself to people that I've hurt. And it's like, people don't want to fucking hear it.
You have to have forgiveness and grace for your past self, and you can't control how people perceive you. I mean, you could be Jesus and still be crucified, you know? You know, so this journey is about you learning how to love yourself and be the best version of you, regardless of how others perceive you. Because I mean, you could be doing amazing things in this world, and there will still be people that root for your downfall.
It's crazy, because like, you know, I feel like the last at least the last 4 years of my life, the people around me, I've wanted nothing but the best for. I've wanted them to succeed in everything. Even when I worked at Amazon and I had applied for that leadership position, like all the people that applied for that same position, I was rooting for them too. It's like, you know, I hope you get it, like you deserve it. And like when I was chosen, I felt bad. But like just seeing how some of them reacted, like some of them resented me. It's like, did you not want to see me succeed?
Right.
Like, which I mean, I also get, because they wanted the position. That's when jealousy comes in to play. And like, you know, I would have been happy being right where I was, because being in a leadership role wasn't any more fulfilling.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a lot mentally, but it's a whole lot less physically. Like I I took initiative and like jumped in and helped my packers pack down a wall. And then like my manager would get on to me and be like, you're supposed to be running shift. You don't need to be packing. That's their job. And I'm like, they're literally like creating like future back pains for themselves right now. Like the least I can do is get in there and like encourage them. I don't know.
And it's all for consumerism.
It's all for consumerism. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I have an Amazon package on the way.
Oh my gosh.
Right. But
this has been good.
It's been a great conversation. I feel a lot. I feel like as we started talking, I started loosening up more and started coming out of my shell.
Being yourself and speaking your truth isn't as scary as you think it is once you start doing it.
Yeah, the fear comes from the fear that you have. Like
the thing that I told you beforehand, the people that have hurt you and your past only has the power over you that you allow it to have over you.
Yeah. That's one thing that's what I'm trying to learn is that like all these people that I feel like hate me at work, it's like I really don't know what they're saying about me, and to be honest, it shouldn't matter.
Who cares?
Who gives a shit?
What do you think about yourself?
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Like, and like learning to see myself in a more positive light, especially over these last couple of months, has really helped with that.
And
I don't feel anxiety going into work anymore when I see them anymore.
Good.
Like I still don't want to look at them. I still don't want to talk to them, but like, you know, I'm not like my heart isn't pounding out of my chest when Hezi or shit, I wasn't trying to say names.
I can edit that out.
when such and such come in the building and my heart starts to race, like there's none of that anymore. Like I'm just there to do my job and go home.
Right.
The people who like me are the people who show it.
Their issue with you is not your problem, and the people that see you and your efforts, you know, they're the ones that matter, not the ones that want to project whatever they want to project onto you.
Yeah. Yeah. So life is a journey. It's not perfect, and none of us are perfect, but just be kind to yourself because you deserve it at the end of the day.
And when you're kind to yourself, you're kinder to others.
It's all worth it. Like, let the people who hate you, because eventually I do feel like everyone's going to see you for who you are.
Be yourself, because when you shine your light, that's when you attract what is meant for you. That's when you attract the people that are meant for you. And if you continuously make yourself small, trying to please others or force others to love you, you will never find the ones that genuinely love you.
Yeah. Like shrinking myself, putting myself down, and taking accountability for things that I really didn't need to take accountability for has really fucked up my self-esteem. It's really like I turned my back on myself for someone that I let continuously hurt me because I felt like it was my karma. I felt like it was time for me to give back to the world because I had been doing the hurting. It's like, you know, I can absorb this hurt, and in the end that's not how that works. Like you don't get over hurt that you've caused by enduring hurt to yourself.
You only make it worse. And you don't have to suffer. It's a choice.
I made the choice to suffer. I didn't feel like I did, but you know, I guess in the moment it's hard to really know what the right decision is and what's best for you or what's a mistake. Like you don't want to make the wrong move, but usually the anxiety that you have over what might be the wrong answer is 9 times out of 10 probably the right answer.
Learn to trust yourself.
Mm-hmm. No matter how scared that makes you. Because honestly, I would rather everyone hate me authentically than for a handful of people to love me in a fake way.
Because then you just hate yourself because you're not who you are. You're not who you're supposed to be. You know, I've even said in an episode that the more I changed trying to get people to love me, the more that I hated myself because I wasn't the person that I wanted to be or that I knew that I was.
The more you change for someone else, the more the real you hates who you're becoming.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been so good.
And like, and that's why, like, that's one of the reasons why I can't forgive. Well, I can forgive, but you know, like waiting on an apology from people in my past, like that hurt me. Like, I'll just say my dad. Like, I need, and not, I don't need an apology from him, but it would go a long way. But
Yeah, but you can't hold on to I need that in order to heal, because it may or may not ever come, and you are worthy of healing with or without that. Sometimes we have to create our own closure and just accept, you know, people are the way they are. We can't force someone to grow. We can't force someone to change. We can't force anyone to be accountable. Mm-hmm. And often, the more we try to force it, the less likely it is to happen.
The worse it gets.
Yeah. So you just...
I've had intrusive thoughts of slipping LSD into my dad's drink.
No,
yeah,
don't, no,
yeah,
no.
That was a long time ago. Like 4 years ago.
Everything is consensual.
Yes.
People have to make the decision.
Fuck
to
it,
do
let's
it
dose the
themselves.
water supply.
No. The military has already, the CIA has already done that in MK Ultra, and it was a nightmare. And the thing is, psychedelic medicines have great potential to make a big impact in healing the world, but it needs to be consensual. It has to be the individual's choice, and it has to be done safely and with intention. I am a firm believer that most people should try a psychedelic substance at least once in their life, but it has to be done the right way.
You have to be seeking for answers.
You have to be ready for change.
You want answers and you want to change, it will happen. But like, yeah, I do agree. Like looking back on it now, I see now that like you do acid before you're ready, and it probably will fuck you up for life. Didn't you say that you knew someone who...
Well, I just posted an episode where I talked about how I had a conversation with a Vietnam War veteran who was a guinea pig in the MK Ultra program, and he didn't go into detail about what happened, but he did tell me that he had volunteered to help with research while he was in active duty, and he wasn't told what he would be researching, how he would be helping, how it would affect him, what he was being given. And he, amongst many others, were dosed with LSD unknowingly. And again, he didn't tell me the details of it, but what he did tell me is that I've never done it before. I'd never done it before that. I've never done it after that, and I never will, because I believe what I experienced is what hell is like. And I don't know if that's because of, you know, an unexpected high dose and what happened because of that. It was
probably set and setting.
Yeah. It's always set and setting.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if it's just what he experienced as a result of unknowingly being dosed with an extremely high dose, or if they potentially tortured him during the process, because they did do that. They tortured people.
I cannot imagine being on a high dose of LSD and being tortured.
Physical, mental, and sexual torture. They waterboarded people. They sexually assaulted people. They played the same like loud noises in their ears over and over again. I mean, it is a violation of human rights. It was an illegal human experimentation program carried out by the CIA, approved by the American government. It's now declassified. If you haven't looked into it, please look into it. And, you know, it should really make you question whether or not our leaders can be trusted, because there's stuff like this still going on, and there's Project Mockingbird going on right now,
Every
which
day.
I believe involves a lot of this programming and like race baiting that we were talking about earlier. Look into what the government is doing. Look into what the CIA is doing, and stop taking everything for face value, and stop believing that the average citizen is your enemy, because they are not. We are all one. We are brothers and sisters, and we're meant to coexist. And the reason why the world is the way it is because we've fallen for all of the bullshit that we're all different. And
stop listening to American media cover international affairs. Start listening to foreign press, like
Yeah.
foreign news. God, this is such a dystopian society, and like, it's crazy because, like, I used to be proud to be an American. I was that type to stand up at football games, put my hand over my heart while someone sang the national anthem.
They didn't even start doing that until after
9/11. Yep.
Which is part of the propaganda and brainwashing. And, they started putting recruiters in high schools, get them young before their brains are finished developing.
My recruiter sold me a dream, like basically saying you'll come back jacked as Arnold, like you'll be a fucking hero to this country. You're gonna get free college. You're gonna get a place to live. And if you want to be a drill instructor or a recruiter, then you'll get your you'll have your own like place on base. Your wife can move in, like all this shit that they promise you. And then when you get out on disability, they don't give a fuck about you. The VA don't give a fuck about you.
They don't give a fuck about you regardless. Like, you're literally just a pawn in someone else's war, fighting over resources. And they say it's about security and safety. But the thing is, the vast majority of instability on a global scale
is caused by the U.S.
It's a direct result of the USA, particularly the CIA, meddling in foreign affairs. And then look into Mossad, which is Israel's CIA, and they have a very close connection to the American CIA.
That'd be Shin Bet in Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shin Bet and the CIA. There was a guy that was a part of Shin Bet, or that he was Palestinian, but then joined Shin Bet and now is a talking head for the IDF. And it's crazy to me how, like, because his dad, I'm pretty sure it was his dad that was one of the leaders of Hamas. Right. And, like, he's being paid to peddle out propaganda against his own father. And so...
Go listen to The Whitest Kids You Know, Kitty History.
Kitty History.
Somewhere in the universe, a kitty planet, just like ours.
Also,
history exactly like ours.
Honorable mention, look up The Grapist. What was the other one?
My computer became sentient.
High in Church. High in Church is a good one.
Trevor Moore, rest in peace.
Trevor Moore, he was killed by the CIA. Don't let anyone tell you different.
I fully believe that.
Yeah. You're telling me he got drunk and fell off of his 3rd-story balcony? Like, come on, dude. That guy's been drinking probably since he was like 9.
As he's releasing truth content,
as he's
criticizing, kind of like how Charlie Kirk was just criticizing. And when I say speaking truth, I do not agree with a lot of Charlie Kirk's views, but he was criticizing the handling of the Epstein case, and he was criticizing Israel, and that's a step too far.
They broke the contract of silence.
Yeah.
And also notice how I'm pretty sure there's a no extradition process in Israel when as far as Israeli citizens go, like Israeli citizens that committed a crime in the U.S. cannot be extradited from Israel by the United States, like law enforcement.
Right.
So it's no coincidence that you have these fucking pedophiles that are fleeing to Israel, becoming Israeli citizens, so they can't be prosecuted by our law enforcement.
And, like, this isn't about anti-Semitism, because those that are destroying our world, they hide behind the Jewish faith because of what happened during World War II, because they think it is their body armor. It's not about the average Jewish citizen who is they're normal people just like we are. It is about the people that wear the Jewish faith as a mask.
They're Zionists.
To get away with atrocities.
We are not saying Hitler was right.
Hitler was not
We
right.
are not saying Hitler was right. Just like it's, yeah. There's a lot that you can tie into our history that directly links to Zionism.
I love the turn that all of this took, but it's still super fucking relevant because
I'm pretty sure we were
you
supposed to
used
end
be,
like.
you used to be super conservative, and now
Oh, dude. Dude,
it's relevant.
not only was I conservative, but me and a girl that I was dating at the time were super like, you know, we defend the holy land of Israel. Like if Israel went to war, we would join the U.S. military and go fight. Both of us would. And then, of course, like my misogynist mind, I was like, no, you're not joining the military. Like, you're a woman. That don't make no sense.
Oh my God. Maybe we should just do podcast on current events every week.
It's a blunt and nothing but a couple hours to talk.
I'm good on the blunt.
All right, well.
Okay. Well, I can't even read what it says up there. I think it says an hour and a half.
Yeah,
So-
an hour and 40 actually.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been talking for a minute.
This is the longest one yet. Let's see if people listen. All right. So I will go ahead and end it there. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you for bringing me on, of course. Thank you.
You're doing a great job.
I'm trying.
And I love you so much.
I love you too.
Ooh, this tall ass bed. And thank you so much for listening and supporting me. If you would like to support me in other ways, I have linked everything down in the description below. As always, I am very grateful that you are here, and I love you so much. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, night, week, month, year, and life. I won't post one next week because I'm going to Lost Lands, but
Lucky.
But may your wildest dreams come true, and stay curious.